What up, Internet? It's Beagle Eye Visions here with our very first book review, finally. I want to give a shout out to Brandon Martin, Indica Martin, and Sean McCann, and everybody else at the One Great Network for inspiring us lazy millennials to actually do some work. Anyways, this book is called The Barcode Tattoo. It's written by Susan Wayne. I got this book in elementary school out of a Scholastic book fair little magazine, and down at the bottom, the only reason I bought it is because this book is for fans of The Matrix. And if you love The Matrix, you will love this. I almost cussed. You will love this book. So it's about the barcode tattoo. Everybody's getting it. It will make your life easier, they say. It will hook you in. It will become your identity. But what if you say no? What if you don't want to become a code? For Kayla, this one choice changes everything. She becomes an outcast in her high school. Dangerous things start happening to her family. There's no option but to run for her life. And under that it says, this is really cool, individuality versus conformity, identity versus access, freedom versus control. And I wanted this to be our first book review after all of the things that happened in the start of 2020. And coincidentally, when you open this book, it starts out at 2020, which is the start of the pandemic. And a lot of the things that correlate with the barcode tattoo also go along with a lot of the things that, you know, that went along with the jab. You know, get the jab, your life will go back to normal, the new abnormal. Well, anyways, so the barcode is similar to phones. Kayla, the main character, her guidance counselor mentions the convenience of having to pay for things with a tattoo, like billing and medical information. There's a lot of Easter eggs in this book, to a lot of really good culture. A lot of us nerds love these books, like that mentions Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, which is another great allegory, just like this book. Kayla's father works for the FBI, which if you study Jay Dyer's work, that's very important. You need to look into Jay Dyer's books. Look up Esoteric Hollywood 1 and 2 and get you copies of those. Start reading those. It's amazing, imperative information. There's a bunch of all the news in this book is much like our real life news articles. It's constant lies, you know, and the real people watch the news in this book and they comment on it, and it'll make you laugh because some of the things, I think the news corporation in this is even like GNN or something like that, you know, similar to CNN. Her neighbor, there's people getting passed over for promotions because they're refusing. There's this underground resistance group. They're refusing the barcode tattoo. It's against their rights. There's certain politicians that, you know, like similar to Spike Jonze of the Libertarian Party. You know, some of the things that he talks about is I think the newscaster that's for the rebels, the anti-barcode people. I think he's a representative of Spike from that Libertarian Party. I think he's kind of a fake anarchist, to be honest. But any hoosers. Kayla also has premonitions, which also reminds me of, that's another thing to the Matrix. You know, Trinity has all those premonitions, sacred feminine, and Kayla, the character in this book, is an absolute embodiment of sacred feminine. This book right here is our modern day 1984. This book it's absolutely amazing. She has premonitions that could be true and some do not. I wrote down that it's a reference to some occult researchers and authors like Aldous Huxley and George Orwell, where they wrote 1984 and A Brave New World, where a lot of those things in those books ended up becoming true in our day. And those books were written in the freaking late 70s, early 80s. I wrote down that also could be a reference to predictive programming as well. You know, if you watch The Matrix or Terminator 2, Rick and Morty, all these The Simpsons, all these things have something called that's predictive programming, and they like, for example, 9/11. If you watch The Matrix, 9/11 is on Neo's passport when he talks to the agents, and that's an example of predictive programming. They insert what they're going to do in their plan before they implement it, so that when it does happen, we all don't lose our minds and go haywire and kill each other. It's predictive programming. It's another part of Jay Dyer's work. He gets down into that. Very good. I believe Michael Tessarion gets into that too as well. Kayla's neighbor, Gene, he works for the post office. He starts as a tattoo artist, and then he ends up getting this governmental job, and he's one of these people. There's an event in one of the books that you just got to read it, you'll see. But he he's a barcode resistor, and something traumatic happens, as as the elites usually do. So Kayla's neighbor Gene mentions barcodes tattoo started in Europe, and that made me think of the think tank corporations like the Tavistock Institute. That's where the Beatles came from. A lot of the stuff in Laurel Canyon, but that's in America. The Tavistock Institute is all this stuff started over in Europe, and I believe like even the chips. There's chips that people can get after after the jabs came out. There's chips that people can get going in and out of their work buildings. The neighbor said he learns that he has to get a tattoo or get fired, which is very personal to me, because even like my mom works a job that she had to get the jab or get fired. Now it's all normal now, but it's really weird how these corporations just totally flip-flop like that. Like how Coca-Cola puts the LGBTQ flag in the middle of the summer, middle of May. Every corporate logos start using their rainbows. Global One in this book reminds me of our U.S. government. Global One is like the they patent all the food, they patent all the seeds where the food comes from, so that way it's just like genetically modified organisms. They patent the seeds, and then these seeds produce food, but the seeds don't reproduce food after the food is grown. It's exactly like G.M.Os, and this book was written in like early 2000s, way before G.M.Os was even a thing, which was absolutely blew my mind. There's another article. So Kayla's group of friends has an underground, like I said, they have a little rebel program. They do their own little newscasting. They do their own news articles for the school. They pass them out, DIY stuff. An article. So that made me think of InfoWars. A lot of these things that got pushed underground and got banned off of the internet. InfoWars. Alex Jones isn't even allowed on YouTube anymore or whatever. What on earth is happening? Grand Theft World. A lot of these like One Great Work Network. All these underground. Because the truth is devastated. It's being pushed. Ignorance is being put up, and the truth is being put down, and we need to reverse that. 2020 in this book was also the same year cash stopped being accepted. And if you think about fast food, right when the pandemic started opening, there was these change shortages everywhere. Me and my girlfriend Jasmine, we were working at fast food restaurants, and they always had change in their drawer. They literally just they wanted us to tell the customers that we were short on change, even though that we always had the change. It was so bizarre. It was a really bizarre time to work during that. There's a 1984 reference in the same chapter that introduces virtual reality. Kayla's friend / old neighbor mentions her old neighbor on the other side, because there's Jean that worked at the post office, and then she got it. Her best friend was a neighbor. Old neighbor mentions that her cousin Emily smashed her laptop because she thought the CIA was spying on her through her computer. Amber says her cousin is a mental case. And that reminds me of a lot of if you mention the word conspiracy theory, people lose their minds nowadays. I myself went to a lot of cookouts where I start talking about these subjects. Like, oh, you're just a conspiracy theorist. Which conspiracy theorist is a word that was developed by the CIA. Again, if you study Jay Dyer's work, you'll learn that. Kayla's mom said that the newborns are healthy and transgenic, and if they're not healthy and transgenic, the newborns in the hospital end up dying. And her mom is her mom works for the medical industry, doing something. She works for the medical industry, and she ends up quitting her job because of the barcode tattoo, all these implementations for her job, all these restrictions. So that made me think of eugenics or diseugenics. And if you study Mark Passio's work or Jay Dyer's work, you get real deep into these guys. They talk about diseugenics and eugenics. I'm not going to get into here because this video is already going on way too long. Another thing that absolutely blew my mind is the mayor in this book, and towards the middle of the book, the mayor of Washington D.C. proposes that they put a wall around the entire city. Does that sound familiar? Who wants a wall? Let's build a wall. The media keeps painting negative lights on Kayla. Kayla is an embodiment of natural law. She always stands up for, if you know natural law, then you know she's an embodiment of natural law, which is amazing. The media keeps painting her as a murderer, as a runaway, a rebel, and some of her friends in the rebellion group end up like turning on her. There's some two-faced Joker type of stuff that ends up happening there. The news labels her as a psycho that refuses to get the barcode tattoo, which is, if you think back to the COVID stuff, there's a lot of that going around. If you don't get the jab, you're not safe. You're putting me in danger. You're putting yourself in danger. Jazz is trying not to laugh behind the camera. And then, chapter 18, there's an old couple that they refused the tattoo, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, this book is amazing. It reminds me of 1984. Like I said, if you're a fan of The Matrix, if you're a fan of 1984, this is an amazing book. Do you got anything to say about the book? I know you read it, Camera Girl.
It's really good.
It's really good. A very, very positive information, a very positive allegory like The Matrix is, because 1984 to Brave New World, those are very dark allegories and they're pretty tough to watch. But that is the reality of our situation. Well, anyways, this is Beagle Eye Visions here, signing off again. Check out One Great Network, check out Team Unity on the internet, come out to some of our events, come hang out with us. We got more book reviews coming up soon. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
All right.
Peace.